There we go. All right, welcome in to Big Duke's Virtual Race Hub, our first episode. Still trying to get everything situated out here. Here we go. Big Duke's Virtual Race Hub. Welcome in. I am Big Duke. I will be your host for the next 20, 30 minutes. We got a lot of things coming up on the show. Very excited to be here with Above the Yellow Line and Miss Taylor Kitchen and everybody that's associated with it. Sal, John Roberts, all them guys over there. Very excited to be associated with such a big group and such a knowledgeable group. Man, the youth and knowledge that this group has brought together is kind of unmatched. I've been very fortunate, very impressed with all my co ATL wires or ATYLers, if you will. But so what we're gonna do, we're gonna talk about, we're gonna break down sim racing, streaming, how to kind of get involved with sim racing. Later down the road, I'm gonna be taking some one-on-one coaching sessions with the man I'm gonna be playing an interview from here in just a little bit, Mr. DJ Yee-J. We're going to be doing some coaching sessions so I can get better at iRacing. And you guys can tune along with me and you can learn as well during those sessions. So they're going to be live stream here on the show. Probably going to be 30, 40-minute sessions, but just going to be breaking me down. I obviously can be broken down quite a bit. Probably need it. So coming up, we're going to be doing a lot of that. I'm going to be interviewing some teams. I know we got the 24-hour race coming up this weekend. So excited about that. I'm going to be interviewing some people post race, hopefully some winners. I know we had some winners, race with some winners a couple of years ago, and so hopefully we get to interview some of those people. Really excited about everything we got coming up on iRacing. I know January 29th, we have the Dale Jr. race, and February 9th, I am going to be racing in a Make a Wish International charity race. Last year they raised right at about 50,000. They want to increase that this year. It's going to be with some F1 drivers and some really big streamers. Jimmy Broadbent, Daniel Moradness. They say some F1 drivers are going to be there, so we'll see. I'm excited. I'm really excited to be involved with that and to get to race with those guys. But with that said, I want to introduce Mr. DJ Yee-J. I did an interview with him last night, and I want to play this for you guys. Hang on just a second. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Sorry, y'all. I had it pulled up, and then I had to not pull it up. Oh, where we at? Where we at? Sorry, live stream issues here. Here we go. All right. This is an interview with Mr. DJ Yee-J. Here we go.
NASCAR Thunder 2004, I
Mhm.
believe, on the computer on a little controller. And I think on that game, I only played exactly Phoenix. So I was very obsessed with
You were
getting
really
really good at
detailed.
something very specific.
I understand that, but
And
that makes sense though. Going back on your videos and really fine tuning on that one particular car and really get that makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. And so, and exactly like that, I started playing NR 2003. I actually did full seasons of that. So that was the first time I actually drove every single track. And then when I went to iRacing in 2014, I actually only did Pickup Cup for 3 years because I didn't want to buy anything on iRacing. I would just
Pickup
make new
cup for
accounts. I think I have like 10 iRacing accounts just spread across a bunch of different names just on those 3 month $5 trials. And I would just race Pickup Cup on those.
that's not. I mean, you can have quite a bit of fun in pickup cup. I mean, it's you're not risking anything, but you're having a good time. So you started with a controller. When did the switch to a wheel and pedals come?
I got for a birthday present from my uncle when I was 12 or 13. I got a used Logitech Driving Force GT. It had broken force feedback, but it could power on. So it had all the resistance, but it didn't have any of the force feedback. And I didn't realize that it didn't have the force feedback until I got a real force feedback wheel because I thought that's what force feedback was just having the resistance.
Right.
Then I got a Logitech G920. I want to say 2020
Okay.
maybe. And then I was like, oh, the wheel's actually supposed to do something. And that helped me out a lot. I was,
Oh, that's that feeling they're talking
yeah,
about.
I was probably, I think, 4.5K by the time I made the switch in that wheel. And then instantly I was like over 5K on the new
So
wheel.
you were a 4K with no force feedback.
Yeah. No
You're
force
a
feedback,
monster.
very light wheel. The pedals were the worst pedals ever. Um, but it got me really good at seeing what the car was doing and hearing what the car was doing, which is a very good thing to have because when all else fails in a corner, you're going to have what you see and what you hear. If you're feeling something weird in the wheel or anything like that, you can always see and hear things, and I think that's helped me a lot over the years.
That is true. I never really thought about that going about it the other way and coming to the force feedback and never having it and then working your way backwards without it. That makes a lot of sense as to why you're able to succeed. Not to mention just honing in on those specific tracks when you first started and just understanding the different ways to get better at a certain track and then hone that in. That makes a lot of sense. So you've only been on iRacing for you said 3 years now.
No, I've been on iRacing since 2014, so 11
2014. What
years.
did I get? 3 years. What did I say?
Well, 3 years is when I honestly, it's been six years since I started actually racing.
I got you.
So
Okay, that's where that's
2018, I want to say, is when I started buying things. And I only raced trucks
yeah.
because I was already C class from rookie street stocks. And uh, I was a D 4.0, so I went straight to the trucks. I skipped ARCA
Yep.
and I raced trucks only for probably about a year. And then I just got really fed up with my lack of ability in tire saving. I was kind of insane back then. I would get poles in 4 or 5K SOFs and be last place by lap 12. Like that literally has happened multiple times.
You're a hot
And
lap
I
guy.
was a yeah, I was maybe a 2.7 to 3K guy who was out qualifying pros and then dropping back through the field. And on average, I was finishing maybe 7th to 10th, but I was just sick of that type of race where I would just spend the entire race getting passed. So
Hmm.
I was like, I got to learn how to save tires. And that's when I started grinding ARCA.
That makes sense. So you skipped ARCA and came right back to it just to learn. I guess maybe you felt like your learning curve you'd maxed out in trucks and you just kind of wanted to reset maybe and something different.
Yeah, I think that I recognize that I had a bunch of bad habits from trucks, and basically my whole game plan was I hope there's a billion cautions so that I don't keep falling back through the field, and that's just not a fun way to race. And I was like, I want to learn how to do that better, and that's actually the main reason why 90% of my races these days are ARCA is I actually just hate cautions now. Like
Nah,
they piss me off so much,
they do ruin
and
a
I
race.
understand they're part of the race, and in real life racing you have to have it that way. But in iRacing, like you can tell I hyper fixate on stuff, and so when I'm hyper fixating on how I'm running the race, when something brings me out of that, like a caution, it just takes the satisfaction out of it for me.
I understand that. Um, so What when you said you recognized that you had some bad habits, when you said, "Hey, I'm going to get better at this." What did you do? Did you just step back to ARCA and then just grind it? Did you ask for any advice? You get any help out of the community? Maybe some pros. Maybe take some coaching sessions. I know I did one. I've done one coaching session, and it was with Mr. Dallas Pataska. And I was like, man, this is going to be great. We're going to get all this information. And the one thing that he told me, it made me mad at the time, but it was absolutely true. He said, man, we can go through all this all you want, but one day you're going to wake up and you're going to realize, oh, I can do it. And the switch is going to flip. And I was like, well, this is a bunch of crap. But you know what? He was right, because now all of a sudden I'm in these 3,800 strength of fields and I'm running up towards the front and competing with the guys. I'm like, oh, well, damn, he was right. Like, it just takes seat time. Like, it's with anything. It just takes a lot of time to develop your craft. It's very impressive that you were able to do that by yourself, recognize your bad habits and figure them out and correct them yourself. That's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, I do a lot of coaching on iRacing, and I actually usually spend the first sessions with people, especially in the 3K range. I
Mm-hmm.
spend the first session completely breaking them down. I'm just saying, this you're doing right now is a 3K level, but it will never be a 5K level.
Right.
And you're an amazing at execution, but you can only execute what you're doing so well, and it can only get you so far. And we have to literally break down what you're doing and then build you back up with the right habits. And then once you have the same level of execution on those, that's when iRating becomes literally arbitrary. Like when you get to 6K, 7K, iRating is just how much do you feel like racing? And if you aren't at that level, then there probably is a certain amount of something that you need to break down and build back up. Unless you're
Yeah,
just running races that have high variance.
I'm at that point. I'll get to the 35, 3600 range, and I'll just freaking nosedive like a Talladega, Martinsville week. Back to back weeks come up, and then I just absolutely go atrocious for some
Right.
reason. But I could probably spend some time with you and get broken down. That might actually be a good idea. Maybe we can do some of that and see what we can improve
Yeah, that
on
would
this
be
year.
fun. That'd be a lot of
That
fun.
would be a lot of fun.
Um,
So tell us a little bit about your coaching. How do we find you on the coaching? What do we do? We
yeah.
go to your YouTube page and
Yeah, I got links all over my YouTube. I have a Patreon tier where you get one-on-one coaching session a month, along with everything else, for essentially about the same price as a single coaching session. Um, do a lot of that. I try not to advertise it too much, or else I get too busy, which is kind of funny.
I
I do it
completely understand that.
for the money, of course, but then I do it for fun as well, because I really like seeing people improve. And I honestly, like, I don't have testimonials or anything, but it's a really good track record, to be honest with you. And it's just very fun to see.
Well,
But
you don't get to 4, 5, 6,000 I rating. Luckily, like you don't
yeah,
luck into that. So that's a testament to itself.
yeah, I didn't have any coaching myself. Kind of going back to the question that you were saying earlier, um, when I decided I wanted to get better, I basically got consistently better within a year. The first time I went to ARCA, I was running about 7th to 10th every race. And then the second season, I was running 4th to 7th. And the third season, I was running third-ish. And the fourth season, I was winning most things,
Right.
except if Larry Pace was in the race.
Man, that dude
And
is fast all the time. Everywhere that guy goes.
yeah, I almost beat him one season, and I was so proud of it. And then the last race, I got violently sick for the strength of field race, and I couldn't show up, and he won the championship, and it pissed me off
Oh,
so
that's a
much.
bummer. That is a
Uh,
bummer.
but the main thing I did to learn was watching streams, mainly, and he doesn't stream anymore, unfortunately, because he doesn't really play iRacing anymore. But Derek Justice, he was a
Yes.
Coke driver, and he would just race all day, and I would watch him, and I would ask him questions in the chat, and a lot of the things, like, you'll notice Coke drivers don't particularly know why they're doing something, which isn't a knock on them. That's just like a testament to the feeling that you get, the amount of work that you have to put into it.
Yep.
But I was basically just trying to watch what he was doing and then try to come up with the whys myself of why he was doing that and why it was working. And basically that all led to my YouTube channel, because um, there was another guy who did ARCA guides for a long time, not every week, but every few weeks, and he stopped making them. His name, oh man, it's gonna bug me that I don't remember it anymore, because I always refer to him, but I'll give it to you later. Philip Resch, PD Resch.
Gotcha.
And at the end of 2021, he stopped making the guides, and I noticed that.
Mhm.
And one of my friends now, who's a mod in my Discord channel and all that stuff, Rob, he just found me on Reddit and was like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And so I made a little unlisted video for him of like breaking down how to do an Arca combo. And
Mhm.
then he said to me, "That was really good. Why don't you just make that public?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I probably can." So the next week, I made a YouTube video of Arca at Atlanta, I think it was, a guide. Just 5 minutes, worst mic in the world, not great recording, anything like that. But there was a need for it, and it got like 400 views first week,
That's
and my
awesome.
channel had 0 subscribers,
That's
and so
good.
that was just the start of it all.
So that's what got you into streaming. It's just watching a streamer, and then one of the one you were watching just kind of fell off what they were doing, and you thought, well, somebody needs to pick up the tab. Might as well be me.
Yeah, and at that point, I had won the Arca points title. At that point, it was over Josh Berry of all people. He was the one who got second, and so I was like, a little funny. At the time, I was like, oh, I can clickbait this.
Right.
So I did Arca champion makes guide for Atlanta, and I did that format every single week for a long time, and that was basically how I got my foot in the door, and then I started sprinkling other types of videos in as I went on.
See, our streaming careers couldn't be any different. I accidentally made a stitch of a video on TikTok that had nothing to do with sim racing, and it was about barbecue. And all of a sudden, I had a bunch of views and a bunch of viewers, and I could go live. And I thought, let me give it a shot. And I've actually done quite well at it. It's funny you mentioned watching streamers and Derek Justice particularly. That's one that I watched, and matter of fact, that was one of my highlights 2 years ago. I was in the middle of a stream, and it was coming up on a green white checker, and I didn't know he was watching, and he popped in the comments. He said, "Man, sell on the high side, it'll stick." And damn if it didn't. I was like, "Oh, that's awesome! Derek Justice told me what to do. Like, this is cool." So yeah, watching the streamers is a big time. Like I'm not any good. Like I'm decent, but I have my telemetry and my pedal cam on my stream, and I've had a lot of people come by. Man, you really helped me, learn the telemetry of how to get on throttle, off the throttle, and braking, this and that. They say you have no idea how much it helps, and it's pretty cool. It is fun to stream. What's your goals for streaming? How far do you want to take it? Where do you want to go with it? Where do you see it?
Um, right now, I so YouTube is all a game for me, and I think that it jars a lot of people when I say that. But like YouTube is maybe you could say it was my life for a year, maybe 2023. I
Mhm.
felt like it was everything to me. Um, I started ramping that back, and now it's all just fun. Like
Right.
I enjoy the aspect of making a video, not particularly the type of video or whatever, but just seeing how it does, like the analytics, the nerd stuff, like
We're on the
learning
same
how to be
page.
right, how to be persuasive, how to speak better, how to write better, all of that stuff. It's very interesting to me, and people say, "Oh, you could be doing other types of videos and be bigger than sim racing," but honestly, even though I wouldn't say that sim racing is like my life or anything, I would say that I care and have more knowledge about sim racing than any other topic. So I think that that's like the best avenue for me to go. Like I wouldn't be making barbecue videos
Right.
or whatever because I don't feel like I have that same authority or the same strength to write to that.
Well, if you're
Um,
not confident in the material, it's gonna
exactly.
it's gonna come off as not confident and not genuine.
I would say I would love to have 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, but that's more of like it's so meaningless besides like a personal achievement thing.
Right.
And I think I understand that to a degree where it's a goal just as like an achievement in a video game is a goal. Um, but really my goals are to make videos that I think other people will enjoy.
Hmm.
And a lot of people are like, one of the things about YouTube that I see people say all the time is, oh, make videos for yourself. And I only agree to that to a degree. I think that making videos for yourself shouldn't mean like, uh, oh, make whatever you want. And if people don't watch it, then they're not real fans. I think of it more in the sense that like make a video that you yourself would take time out of your day to watch. And that's what I do. Like every video I make, I except for like a few that like I'm obviously trying to chase views and stuff,
Yes.
but every single video that I make, like I go back and watch when I'm bored. And people call that narcissistic, but I'm like, if you don't believe in your own content like that, then what's the point?
And I could put myself there, and I would be saying the exact same things. I'm with you. I've really gotten into the last 6 months into the editing part of it, and the transition and cutting things off, but letting the sound still bleed. And I've really got into that. That part of the content creation is a blast for me. I've really started to enjoy that, and I'm the same way, man. I'll make one and I'll probably watch it 35,000 times. I bet just and nitpick the hell up, man. I should have done this, or I should have did this different music. Yada yada yada. So I'm with you. So give somebody starting out in sim racing, maybe with a little bit of stream that they want to stream to it. Give somebody a couple pieces of advice to start in streaming and sim racing that you wish you had when you started.
I figured out a lot of things over the years, and I think that the biggest thing is really not about the videos themselves, but more about the ideas for the videos and then the title and the thumbnail. I think the execution of the video has a pretty low threshold of what people will watch as long as it's paced well and written well. So like my videos are objectively not high quality. Like I don't have amazing equipment. The one thing I did decide to upgrade was my mic because I determined that good sound quality is extremely important, more important than video quality, actually. And I will upgrade my camera eventually, but I'm lazy. Um,
Well, hey,
but
if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
yeah,
It seems to be working.
pretty much. Um, what I would say is that people have this idea that if they stick to the same thing over and over and over again, then eventually it'll work. But in my opinion, if you're doing the same thing over and over and over again and it's not working, it it's not going to work. Like it's the definition of insanity, and that might be a little harsh, but
No, that's I
uh,
mean it's the absolute truth. Some people need to hear it.
yeah, and I think a hallmark of my channel is that I do something different every single time and keep it within sim racing. And I
Right.
think that I don't need to be the person that makes any one of my videos except for some of maybe the high level oval tutorial videos where I'm like extremely good at communicating how the game works. Like that maybe only a few people can make because there's a lot of people that are good but not a lot of people that can communicate it.
That's right.
But my biggest videos, all 10 of my biggest videos, any iRacer on the planet could have made.
Right.
And I think that that should be sort of inspiration in that regard, that it's an idea thing. It's not a I need to work harder and I'm going to make it. It's a I need to have good ideas and I need to have ideas that I stand by and I have to have ideas that I have kind of evidence that people will enjoy. And you can try and fail all you want and learn about it, and that's part of it, and that's amazing. But I think that especially the genre of turn on my camera, run a race with minimal interaction and upload it to YouTube, I understand quite a bit of people do that just to record their own races, and that's awesome. But I think for the people that genuinely have a want to be a content creator and that's kind of their solution to it, I would recommend getting more creative than that.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. That's good advice. So sim racing. Somebody's getting started into sim racing. I always tell everybody you don't need all the stuff. I have a lot of bells and I have a lot of whistles, but you don't need it. I actually started sim racing back in 2008 on R Factor and VHR mod. Did that for a few years, got out of it, then got back in it to for iRacing. But for a while, I was racing out of a hotel because I was a construction worker. Had my G29 mounted to the ironing board because I could get the height right because the damn chair in the hotel rooms are too tall, and racing off of a laptop with an HDMI plug to the TV in the room. Did that for a long time. Like you can be as simple as you want to be, or you can be as technical as you want to be. But give us a good baseline of what you think a good sim racer to get started should be looking at.
Yeah, I think that I actually did a video recently about this that's actually doing pretty well. Um, there's a lot of budget options for sim racing nowadays, and I think that that if you can skip over every single Logitech, every single Thrustmaster, and get to those really cheap bundle direct drive wheels, the Moza R3s, the Camises, that Turtle Beach bundle, it's probably one of the jankiest direct drive wheels I've ever driven, but it comes with load cell pedals and it's $400. Like, if you're gonna get a bundle and never buy another piece of sim racing equipment, you can't beat that Turtle Beach bundle.
No.
So that's like a very specific scenario, and a lot of people got on me for recommending that Turtle Beach bundle, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. If you think that you can get a direct drive wheel and load cell pedals and a dumb little button box for $400 anywhere else, it's like, okay, show me.
Man, I'm always quick to tell somebody, hey, if your budget allows it, go with this, but you can't beat. I'm always for the R5 bundle. I always recommend
Yeah,
that. That's what I started with
that's
on
what I
direct
got right
drive.
now.
I luckily got upgraded to an R9 through a sponsor of mine, but if it wasn't for that, I'd still be on the R5.
Yeah.
I I'm with you. You don't need all the fancy stuff. Something to get you in the seat and get you feeling what you need to feel and making laps. That's a great way to start. I'm with you.
My setup for, I want to say, 3 years was a G920 wheel and Fanatec V3 pedals, because I really, really believe that pedals are more important than wheel for oval racing.
I completely agree with you on that. Completely agree with you on that.
So that's my recommendation. Like, if you're gonna go for it on your pedals. I mean, standard bundle pedals and Fanatec V3s is just so far and away more than the difference between a direct drive wheel and a used Logitech gear wheel.
Yep. I'm with you. I'm with you. Well, DJ, I greatly appreciate you stopping by, hanging out with us, giving us some piece of your time and some pieces of advice. We thank you very much here at Above the Yellow Line and Big Duke's Virtual Race Hub. We'll see you out on the track, hopefully. Maybe if I get my rating up, I race against you one day, or maybe I'll come knocking on your door and get some of that training you were talking about.
You'll race against me if you do first hour ARCA every single week.
10-4, I'm going to start looking for you there. Hey, man, thank you for the time. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep, have a good one. All right, man, that was so much fun to talk to him and really pick his brain. Looking forward to getting some coaching sessions done with him and just being able to improve my racecraft. I know the people that follow me and watch, man. There's so many peaks and so many valleys that I go through all the time, and I know it's me because all the other guys I race with, they don't really have the valleys. They have more of the peaks. So I need to limit the valleys and maximize the peaks. So coming up here in the next month, we're going to be taking some coaching sessions and working with DJ Yee and trying to limit those valleys and really maximizing my iRacing experience and my iRacing career, if you will. Like I said earlier, we have the Rolex iRacing 24 coming up, the Daytona 24 coming up on iRacing. Going to be talking to a bunch of guys after the race. Going to be talking to some before, but a bunch of guys after the race. Getting some interviews with some people that's raced in it. Some past champions of the 24-hour of Daytona. Got a couple of friends that won that a couple years ago. Man, it was very exciting. Again, the Dale Jr. charity race on January 29th coming up. Looking forward to that. Keith says yes. Motorsports, we have a team in that one. And February 9th, I have the Make-A-Wish International charity race, Drive for Wishes 400. I want to have some more information on that next week. But it's a large charity race with some big streamers, such as like a Jimmy Broadbent, Daniel Moradness. Some F1 drivers are going to be in the fold. Should be a great time. But it's not a traditional Petit Le Mans. There's going to be some donation charity. Well, I just went blank. I'm sorry. Ways that you can donate to the stream, and you can have you can throw a caution, or you can have a team stop and put it in reverse and have to drive in reverse for a lap. So it's not a traditional race. There is a mechanism to raise some money. Last year they did about $50,000, they said. So they're trying to beat that this year. Hope everybody's going to see us out there on February 9th. I know I'm going to be live on my channels. Going to talk to Taylor. Probably going to get it live here on Above the Yellow Line as well. Since I think it's about a 12-hour race on a Saturday. So hopefully we can reserve some time. I have to talk to her first, but anyway, that's going to wrap up the show for tonight. Thank you everyone that tuned in. Thank you all the comments. I greatly appreciate it. This has been absolutely phenomenal. I wasn't really sure what to expect. Kind of nervous going into it. Had some issues with the audio. But anyway, thanks everyone for coming out. And we're going to wrap it up tonight. And you guys have a great night. And keep digging. Big Duke is going to get on out of here. Later. Maybe. Oh, where's that dock?